Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Surviving the Week, where each week I tell you about all the things that made me want to hit the fuck it button and the things that helped me survive it. A new section this week, positivity. So my bad luck seems like it might have come to an end. Fingers crossed. I didn't break anything this week. I didn't get any injuries this week. It's like a miracle. I did get some new protection crystals to try and keep away all of the bad juju. I even dropped the sugar pot on a glass mug and neither of them broke. I feel like that's a huge achievement. The trip to the crystal shop made me feel a lot better. I got some new candles. And then me and my best friend wrote a new song, which was super exciting. And I can't wait to hear what her guitarist is going to do with the music and watch it all come to fruition. I also dyed her hair. And to be fair, the one bit of bad luck was that when she turned around after I'd finished putting the dye on her hair, she yelped because there was dye on my nose. I don't even know how I managed to do that, but it's okay because micellar water. If you ever get direct dye on your skin, micellar water is your friend. It's so good for getting the dye off of your skin. As far as I'm aware, I don't still have a colourful nose. It was Valentine's Day, and according to my 6-year-old, having a date night in the living room is lame. She suggested that we should have gone to a romantic restaurant to have dinner. The problem is that the reason we couldn't is because of her. And you know what's really unromantic? Watching the live-action Lilo and Stitch with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old who refused to go to bed. I did end up crying on Valentine's Day, but maybe not for the reasons you would expect. The moment I saw my present, I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I just burst into tears. I wasn't expecting something sweet, meaningful, and romantic. I thought it'd be something silly or funny, cheesy, not something beautiful. It was a photo of us on a plaque that lights up and it looks like a music player and has our wedding song on it. And I just was not prepared for something that beautiful. And literally, I was just sobbing uncontrollably, which was a little bit embarrassing. I didn't expect to have that much of an emotional response. I suppose it's a mixture of relief, getting back the people that we used to be, the love that we used to have, and that romance and the safety and security that represents. It was really, really special. It was also Pancake Day in the UK, which apparently is not a thing in other places. The proper term is Shrove Tuesday, which is a religious holiday at the start of Lent. We have always called it Pancake Day. Everyone in the UK has pancakes, although based on the poll that I ran, not many people actually did. We had pancakes for breakfast and dinner, and I am now feeling like I don't want to make pancakes again for at least 3 months. We are pancaked out. It has been half term this week as well, which is a week-long break in October, February and May, where the schools are closed and you have to try and entertain your children for 7 whole days. So we've had a play date, we had a day out in town, and I have slowly lost my mind. It's impossible to keep on top of things when they're always there. Everything that I clean, they destroy immediately, especially now that my toddler isn't really having naps anymore. So my 2-year-old and my 6-year-old are on a constant path of destruction that never seems to end, and I don't know what to do about it. Although that has reduced slightly over the last 2 days, where my toddler has been sick again. Apparently, I have TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Now, I'm not sure the people who use this term actually have any idea what it means. Apart from being utterly ridiculous, the only people obsessed with Trump are his cult of supporters. I am not obsessed with Trump. I just can see that he is the spawn of Satan. Actually, that's a bit unfair on Satan, to be honest. The man is pure evil and senile. Some good news in the UK, though. The criminalisation of people supporting Palestine Action has been overturned. There's no more arresting peaceful protesters just because they happen to be holding a sign that says they support Palestine Action. I think most people can agree that the people of Palestine deserve to be freed and that the occupation needs to end, the genocide needs to end, and supporting an organisation that stands up for that is not in any way criminal, especially when you're doing it by protesting peacefully. It is a waste of resources that they could instead be using to, I don't know, maybe investigate the paedophile ring that's apparently been running the world for the last few decades. I suppose it did free up some time for proper policing, because the Andrew, formerly known as Prince, was arrested on his birthday. What beautiful planning. It's got to have been 100% intentional, and I am here for the pettiness. Now, I know some people are upset because he's been arrested for misconduct in public office, and that doesn't sound like it's good enough. But what we have to keep in mind is that they still have to be careful with what they're doing, what they're saying. So by arresting him for something that seems minimal, it allows them to open up an investigation. It allows them to get search warrants for his homes. It means that they get to find out more information and start digging. And that has got to be a positive thing. There's got to be something that good comes out of that and that allows them to convict him on other charges. This is just the arrest. This is just the beginning. And there is so much karma to come. I have to say, I'm very impressed with King Charles not supporting his baby brother, which makes sense because Andrew was the favourite son and Charles was quite disliked by the Queen. It is quite upsetting to think about how much she protected Andrew when she was alive. I get it was her son, but I would like to think that most mothers would draw a line somewhere and stop supporting their child if he was, I don't know, involved with a worldwide paedophile ring. That seems like a reasonable time to cut your kids off. I am struggling with food at the moment. It feels like I'm just not hungry. And then by the time I feel hungry, I am weak, need to eat immediately, but don't actually want anything, don't fancy anything. There's nothing that's interesting me. I'm really struggling to get into any sort of routine. I'm buying food that's going to waste because my appetite's just not there. In general, I've been feeling pretty good, so I'm not sure where this has come from. Is it just because I'm feeling overwhelmed by the world? I don't know what's going on with me or why I'm finding that so difficult at the moment. I realised this week that I have this special talent for remembering when inconsequential events happened. It's having a conversation, talking through when an appointment was and when something else happened, and realizing that I can remember exactly when those things happened because something traumatic happened right after or right before. I guess that's a useful skill to a certain extent, but it does make things difficult because in the remembering, there is pain. And I've been doing pretty good at keeping the pain at bay. Although this is something that tends to happen when things are calm and peaceful and when there is positivity. It's like all of a sudden there's space to process, but I'm still not ready to process. I did have one particularly bad day this week where I just felt overwhelmed by grief, because that's what it is at its core, is that I am still grieving the life that was taken away from me, the things that I lost, the future that I lost, the dreams that I had. And I do feel like that's a big reason why I'm not healing fast enough, because you can't heal grief. It is just something that becomes a part of you and that you have to learn how to live with. So I have lost some weight over the last couple of months where I was working with a health and fitness coach, but I'm struggling to get into the mindset shift of the fact that I'm a different size, and I keep ordering clothes that are still a size 18 because the idea of ordering size 16s is scary. And I'm worried that it's going to turn up and it's going to be too small, and then I'm going to feel bad about myself. Whereas if I stick to the bigger size and it turns up and it's too big, then in a way that's a positive, but it is also a bit of a waste of money because I'm buying clothes that don't fit me properly. And I'm not sure how to get out of that mindset, how to just be accepting of what size I actually am rather than the size that I think I am. One morning when I was 18 and walking to college, I started being sick. Got in, sat down in my politics lesson, told my friends, and they were like, oh no. And then they started laughing and went, maybe you're pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, don't be ridiculous. And then the next morning, walking to college, I started throwing up, and I got into my politics lesson and I sat down and I said to my friends, I was sick again today. And this time they didn't laugh. They just turned and stared at me. And I was like, I can't be pregnant. I can't be pregnant because when I was 13, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries so severe that they said I would probably never be able to conceive. Clearly, they were wrong. I kept being sick, and I went to the doctors concerned that there was something wrong with me. And they did various blood tests. And halfway through a law lesson, I got a phone call informing me that I was pregnant. I had no idea how far along I was, so it was quite difficult to work out whose it was. I had gone from one relationship to another quite quickly and had no way of knowing how long I'd actually been pregnant based on the blood test. And then I tried a clear blue test, which said 6+ weeks, which was not at all helpful. I was 18 and I was terrified. My mum was very busy with her boyfriend, who then became her husband, and I spent a lot of time at home alone. One of my friends came and stayed with me for like a week, just to help support me through it because I wasn't coping very well. His cooking was horrific. The worst food that I think I've ever eaten. And I quite quickly got irritated and needed some of my own space. But it was nice to have someone who was there to offer moral support and just keep me company whilst I was wrestling with what to do, balancing my options and trying to come to a decision of what would be the right thing for me. I didn't feel like I was ready to be a parent. Still felt like a kid, legally an adult, but I was in college. I was meant to be going to uni. I had a future. And it felt like this pregnancy was taking away from that. But at the same time, I had spent 5 years believing that I would never be able to have children. And all of a sudden, I have this pregnancy. And there was part of me that was like, well, maybe this is a miracle. Maybe this is a one-off. Maybe this is the only time I'll ever be able to do this. And if I give that away, then it'll never, ever happen again. And the idea of this being my only opportunity, I obviously decided that I couldn't possibly give that up. And now that opportunity is about to turn 15. She will refer to herself as an accident or a mistake. I don't know where she learned that language. From TV, I suppose. Because I've always just told her that she was a surprise. Very much a wanted surprise, which she was. The second I had my first scan and saw her on the screen, I fell completely in love with her. And then it was a different mindset, a different ball game, and I was ready to become a mother. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was still scary. I still didn't know what I was doing. I still lived at home. My mum's reaction to finding out that I was pregnant at 18 was to burst into tears and start ranting about how I was going to leave her and take the baby with me, and that maybe I should give her my child to raise. Because she did such a good job with me. So I think she always sort of saw my eldest as her second chance at raising me. Her attachment to her was unhealthy, and eventually part of the reason that I went no contact. It was a difficult time. And when I was 5 months pregnant, I fell in love with a boy from college and didn't know what to do. Because how could I possibly start a new relationship with someone who wasn't the father? That didn't seem fair or right. We viewed our time as being temporary. And then he raised her till she was 4. And contact stopped when she was 6. 6. When she was 6. Because he got a new girlfriend who couldn't understand him loving a child that wasn't his. You could say that in the end everything worked out, but there is always part of me that wishes I had gone to university. I got in. The universities knew that I was pregnant and I still got offered places. And I went for ones that had family housing and in cities that I wanted to live in. And then I got talked out of it. On her deathbed, told my gran that I was pregnant and she was concerned. But she said she knew that if anyone could do it, I could. She still believed in me, being able to make something of myself. And then I let her down because I stayed home and I was too scared to go and make a life for myself. whilst other people were doubting me. Maybe if I'd had the support of the people around me, things would have been different. We were on the front page of the Gazette, though, because I went into labour during an exam and I got an A. My little claim to fame. Last week's tarot prediction was for the week to end up in burnout. I was definitely feeling that yesterday after 2 nights of dealing with a sick toddler. But today I'm feeling a lot better. I'm ready to see what the following week is going to bring. This week I'm going to do a simple 3-card spread. What will the week bring me? The past influences on the week. Ooh, Justice. I've not seen this card before. Reversed. Unfairness, lack of accountability, guilt, dishonesty, and punishment. So that's the past. That's a representation of the past. Unfairness, definitely. Lack of accountability, everybody else. Guilt, that's me. Dishonesty, that's everyone. And punishment. Definitely have a habit of punishing myself. Now for the present that we're going into the week with. The Star. Upright. Hope, calm, faith, purpose, renewal, spirituality, fortune, good omen, and rejuvenation. That's definitely representative of what I'm feeling right now. A lot of hope, a lot of calm, definitely getting into my spirituality with my new crystals, good omens. Now, for the future outcome of the week. The 4 of Cups. Reversed. Sudden awareness, choosing happiness, acceptance, retreat, withdrawal, checking in for realignment. I like that. Choosing happiness and acceptance, checking in for realignment. I'm taking that as this is going to be a good week. If we ignore the retreat and withdrawal. As always, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and comment on this video to show your support. I will see you next week.